Whispers of the past. The Newcastle Museum stood regal against the typical Australian sky, its sturdy stone walls juxtaposed with the essence of ancient history housed within. Kim Michelle Ross strolled through the bustling exhibition, her heart a flutter of excitement and trepidation. Though her career had meandered through the varied paths of biology and pathology, it was within the realm of speculative fiction where her true passion bloomed. But today, all thoughts of prose and plots melted into the backdrop as she traversed the echoing halls, drawn in by the allure of 12th-century Europe. She paused at a display of weapons, their bronze glint reflecting a time when honor and valor were etched into every blade. With a background in medieval reenactment through the Society for Creative Anachronism, she felt an echo of familiarity with the surroundings, a soft whisper from history calling to her creative soul. As she moved deeper into the exhibit, a sensation rippled through her, a tingle of awe mingled with something more, a pull, as though the past sought her intimate attention. Daydreaming momentarily, Kim wandered, oblivious to the world around her. She barely registered passing visitors, lost in thoughts of gallant knights and flowing gowns, all brought to life within the fragile confines of her imagination. The atmosphere shifted as she approached a particular area dominated by a circular installation, worn stone mimicking the ancient monoliths of central France. She stepped forward, and it felt as if the air thickened, saturated with a mystique that beckoned her closer. In a blink, the modern museum dissolved. The stark white walls melted into lush greenery, and the whispers of guardians from a day long gone filled her ears. Kim stood in the stone circle, now surrounded by men and women clad in rich fabrics adorned with intricate embroidery. The scent of fresh earth mingled with the sweet tones of wood smoke and laughter. These figures bore the elegance and nobility of a vanished era, a symphony of colors as their voices swelled around her, a chorus of feasts, battles, and celebrations long forgotten. "Your Grace," one knight bowed deeply, his golden hair flowing like spun sunlight. "We are honored by your presence." "Grace?" Kim's voice trembled with disbelief. She glanced around, searching for cameras or staff who might be pulling a grand practical joke on her. But instead, her gaze fell upon a miniature painting, delicately rendered on a piece of parchment, cradled in the hands of a lady adorned with a crown of bright wildflowers. The image portrayed a princess with flowing blonde hair, lively eyes, and a smile that seemed to leap off the page. Kim's breath caught in her throat. "That's me," she whispered, the words barely leaving her lips. "Yes, my lady," the knight said, his gaze unwavering, filled with a fervent respect. "The realm has missed your light. Come back to us. We need you." A whirlwind of confusion seized her mind, a tempest of what this cannot be, and yet, undeniably, there it was, a truth set against a backdrop she had thought was merely her hobby. She reached for the painting, her fingers brushing against the parchment as if it were a portal, primed to bridge centuries and realities. The lady nodded in approval, her gaze filled with warmth and longing. Kim's heart raced as she took a step closer. She was a writer, not a princess. The thought recoiled within her as fragments of her daily life flitted through the haze. Her husband, the boys, the golden retriever, Benny, bounding through the backyard. The responsibilities of life tugged at her, the grounding sensation of love emanating from her very own historical tapestry. Suddenly, a chorus of bubbling laughter called from the recesses of her heart, a sonorous blending of voices she knew all too well. "Mum! Kim! Lunch is ready!" The words resonated through the fantastical scene, displacing her from the stone circle and pulling her back into the present. As those warm hues of medieval glamour faded, the clinical white of the museum returned. She blinked, bewildered, her senses reorienting to the familiar sight of the exhibition. There were no knights, no ladies, only a sprinkle of fascinated museum-goers eager to dissect their own perceptions of the long-vanished era. "Kim, over here." One of her sons waved, a goofy grin spread across his freckled face. "Yes, coming," she called back, the remnants of the enchanting realm still flickering in her mind. She stood for a moment, her hands tracing the invisible outlines of the very experiences she had just lived. A princess, a storyteller of dreams lost in time, pieces of herself lingered in both realms. Shaking off the vestiges of a culture she felt both part of and apart from, her heart warmed. Perhaps the world of a speculative fiction was simply a bridge, uniting the past and the present in delicate tapestries of human experience. As she joined her family, she smirked at the thought of resuming her role as a novelist. After all, every story she penned, a pathway, a stone circle awakening with whispers of the past.